An online platform for collectors and buyers. Welcome back to Techstination. I'm Fred Fishkin. With us from Realist, REALEST.com, is Chief Marketing Officer Aniefre Essien. Hi, Aniefre.
Hi. Good morning, Fred. How you doing?
Terrific. Well, let's start with an overview of Realist and how it differs from other auction sites.
Yeah, so I think at its core, the realist is we've created a platform that allows everyday fans to be able to own these particular moments that are significant, whether it's a sporting event, and we saw a pretty significant sporting event last night with the Dodgers versus Yankees to make it, timely and newsworthy, or if it's a legacy event like something from the great history of Mr. Tony Gwynn, aka Mr. Padre. We have an auction that's going on right now where these big milestone moments that happen, we go and we authenticate with absolute certainty that um, the item that you're buying is the actual item, because it's been estimated that up to 90% of memorabilia is fraudulent. It's a pretty lucrative market for folks to be able to go in and make, a little change for themselves by selling fraudulent items. So we've built a tech platform combined with in life kind of witness-based authentication, so that when you buy a game-worn jersey, if you buy Tony Gwynn's baseball that's from his 3,000th hit, it's that actual ball. We use overt and covert marking to be able to make that be the case.
Wow, 90% fraudulent out there, up to
Up
that.
to, yeah. So the FBI, they did a study like digging into the memorabilia market, and in certain instances they found certain auctions or certain moments where up to 90% of it was fraudulent. So I think the fundamental issue is that it's so lucrative, and people are always trying to figure out ways to get over. And if you think about, supply and demand, if you're looking for, you know, Tony Gwynn's 3,000th hit, or if you're talking about, last night's game, there's only going to be one ball that got the last out in that game. So it makes it very valuable. It also makes it attractive for someone to try and pull off being able to sell it more than once.
So tell us about this authentication process and more
Yeah.
about it. And I think you have a name for it, even Truist. Is that?
Yeah. So we have a subsidiary company called Truist, and they focus solely on authentication. So it is core to not be overly complicated. We use three factors to triangulate. One is witness-based authentication. This is our highest level of authentication. So this is for our gold sticker. We use witness-based authentication. That means we have authenticators who will be at a game or at an event. And like what we're doing right now with, the tour with Usher, we're partnered with him for his past, present, future tour. We'll have an authenticator that's there. Something comes from the field of play or from the stage. Our authenticator sees it, and they authenticate without ever leaving their line of sight. And then that's where they then apply second factor, which would be our overt marking. And that is a hologram sticker that has a code, and you can go up and look your item up on our website. Any item that we've ever authenticated or sold, its item number, which is on the hologram, it's searchable. You can see the whole history of that item within our database. But then that's where you apply our overt marking. And then we apply a covert marking. And that's in a place where it's not always in the same place. We move it around, but it's you can't see it with the naked eye. It's used with the visible ink, and it's like a fingerprint. It's a non-duplicatable covert mark. So between those three factors all together, it makes it really difficult to be able to fraudulently replicate one of our items that we've authenticated. Now, the next level, now we do have silver stickers that we use. Because we are a new company, we've been, up and going for about a year now. There are things that have happened before we got started, like our auction that we have going right now with Tony Gwynn, but we're still working directly with the Tony Gwynn estate. And so they signed an affidavit. These items, are theirs, that they're authentic. These are the actual items that were given to Tony Gwynn, or these are from, his personal collection. And then we apply a silver sticker to that. It still goes through our authentication process, so we use covert marking and all of that. But instead of applying a gold sticker, because obviously we weren't there 20, 25, 30 years ago when he was achieving these great historic milestones. So we don't put our gold sticker, we put our silver sticker on those.
Right. It's been, I think, about a decade since he passed away. He was only
Yeah,
54.
yeah. We lost
Um,
him way too young. He was, regardless of which team you root for, he was a hero to many, myself included.
Tell us about some of the items from that collection that are on the site.
Yeah, we have some significant items actually. It's a rather impressive collection. At the very top, you have some of our marquee items. Like we have the jersey that he was wearing when he got his last hit of his career. Um, we have his Silver Slugger Award from 1997, which is one of, his best seasons ever. If you look at and they award the Silver Slugger to the best hitter at each position. So you look at all the other names that are on that plaque alongside his. I want to say Barry Bonds is on there, Jeff Bagwell, a couple other really great Hall of Famers who are on this plaque of his from his 1997 Silver Slugger Award. We also have one of his gold gloves that's up part of this collection because he was an amazing right fielder. He won multiple gold gloves, and we're fortunate enough to be able to offer one of those up to the public for the first time. And then we have some other items that are probably just as desirable to a collector, um, even though they aren't as maybe marquee within the world of baseball. For being Player of the Year, he was granted a Seiko watch, and it's the gold watch that's nicknamed amongst watch collectors the James Bond watch because it was worn by James Bond in one of the films. And we have several other items. We have other game worn and practice worn stuff. We have photos like of Tony Gwynn and Ted Williams that's signed by Ted Williams in their rare moment where they got to spend time together. So it's kind of like walking into like Cooperstown. It's like baseball royalty when it comes to the memorabilia that we have. And again, that's because we have the privilege of working directly with the Tony Gwynn estate, and these items have never been offered up to the public before. And we're just honored to be able to be trusted by the estate to be the ones to offer these up to the public for auction and to be able to keep his legacy alive. That's really important to them, and it's important to us that the way in which we handle that is to tell his story, right? Because you mentioned a few minutes ago we lost him 10 years ago early, and his story, because he was so humble, was never told as loudly and as broadly as it could have been or should have been. Like, he's a Southern California kid, went down and played for the Padres, which is a bit of a smaller market. And then he stayed there and he stayed loyal to them. He could have gotten big contracts to go to other markets where he would have got more media attention. And he just wanted to play baseball and bring joy to Padres and Padres fans and kind of do it the right way. And he wasn't very self-promoting. And so we think it's a really great opportunity for us to tell the story of truly, if he's not the greatest hitter ever, he's in that conversation. He's in the Mount Rushmore of the greatest hitters to ever play the game of baseball.
Terrific. And yeah, I guess there's a twinge of sadness when an estate is letting things go, that the family members everybody's got reasons for doing things like that. But
Yeah, and I would say the beautiful thing with this one is, the family, they're in a great position. This is more so of his history. His career was so storied. He accomplished so much, and they just have it all sitting there. And his story hasn't been told. So we're just scratching the surface. It's not like they have depleted their entire repository of Tony Gwynn memorabilia. There's stuff that's still on display around the baseball stadium down there. There's things that are on display in different businesses whom they have relationships with that are not a part of this auction. There's stuff that they still have within their homes, and there's stuff they still have within their storage. This is really an opportunity to celebrate his legacy and the fact that we have come up on 10 years and being able to tell that story. There are other athletes that are out there. We hear stories of them auctioning off or selling off items for different reasons. Maybe they might be in a difficult situation, but that's not what this is. This is more so a celebration of his life and his career.
well, that is great to hear. You have other collections too. I think you may have touched on one or two, but you go through a couple of them for us.
Yeah. So we have a few partners. We have a couple that we'll be announcing, say in the next week or two that I can't announce here just yet, but we do have like the Usher collection that we're doing. We're working on that tour. So we have buy now items where you can get posters that are signed, by Usher on our site. But then also at the end of the tour, we will have items from the tour, things that he's worn on stage and outfits and so on. We're working with the Miami Heat, and we have some items we're collecting throughout the season. So we're gonna have auctions that are gonna come up throughout the season. But right now, because they've renovated their lower bowl, and we were blessed to be able to get these chairs that are in great condition. There's these really thick, heavy-weighted, and cushioned folding chairs that when you used to get seats courtside and in the lower bowl, that fans used to get to sit in. Whether you're a Miami Heat fan or not, if you watch the Miami Heat play during their like kind of epic run over the past 20-25 years in which they've been in, the Kaseya Center used to be named after another brand sponsor, but they've been in that arena for 25 years, and those seats have been a part of some really epic history, including the LeBron James years when he was out there, and what him and D Wade and Chris Bosh did. And then since Jimmy Butler and Bam and all those boys have come together, they've been down there making a lot of noise. Well, we have chairs from that lower bowl that we're auctioning off, or should not auction off, we're selling as a buy now opportunity on our site right now. And we have Miami Heat fans are being able to come through, and they're using them for their fan caves. People are starting to acquire some now, heading into the holidays to surprise their significant others and family members with people who are really big Heat fans with memorabilia from or in seats from the Miami Heat arena. So there's a lot that we have going on. There's a lot more that we have coming, and we've even done stuff in the past with Snoop Dogg, which was absolutely amazing. Where Snoop Dogg, a similar situation. He is not in a place where he's hurting for money in the least. He is a very successful businessman. He still makes new music. He has a new album that's coming out. He's not remotely in financial hard times, but he just has all of the stuff he's accumulated over, his 30+ year career of being one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest rap star in the world. And so he wanted to clear out one of his storage units. And so we took a lot of items from, his past, including notepads that had his original lyrics the first time he wrote and came up with some of his hit songs. We had old jerseys that were made for him, and one of his old like death row chains from back in the day, and including, this is kind of a novel item. Everyone kind of knows Snoop for being a cannabis enthusiast, and so we took consumed the leftover piece of a marijuana cigarette, and we turned that into a collectible item. We encased it in this beautiful resin ashtray, and we put it in a beautiful display box, and that sold for just under $5,000. It's one of the highest selling smoked items in the history of memorabilia. And that auction was wildly successful. You can still go on our site and see some of the inventory that we moved as a part of that auction. So we have a lot that's coming up, and stay tuned. Within the next, 7 to 30 days, there'll be a lot of really large announcements, coming out, or whether it be around more sporting teams, and we're getting into film. And so we're working directly with movie studios to be able to authenticate items from blockbusters movies. And it's a really fun time to be in the space, because I think, at its core, Fred, I think the world is so digital and kind of, remember back in the day, to do the way back game for a moment, you would only have so many pictures you can take with a roll of film, and you'd go and you get those developed, and maybe 3 or 4 of the 30 came out really, really good. And now you can take 30 pictures in a second, literally, right? Taking a flash photo, and it just rattles off all these photos in a second, and you can compile thousands upon thousands of photos. And there's a blessing to that, but it's not as tangible, it's not as significant. And people want to own these moments in history, that they want to own them in the analog world, and know that this is actually the baseball, this is actually the jersey, this is actually the costume that this person wore in this significant historical moment. And so we're just happy to be able to bring that to the world with authenticity.
Terrific. And again, where's the best place for people to go to follow along?
Go to therealist.com. So it's www.therealest.com.
Just terrific. Aniefre Essien, thank you so much for spending time with us.
I appreciate you. Thank you, sir.